The British Prime Minister was in Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates this week. Among other goals, Boris Johnson was looking to find ways to secure more oil for the UK. This to lessen its dependence on Russian energy supplies. Much of Europe relies on Russian energy, including natural gas. However, after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, markets around the world, but especially in Europe, are looking for other suppliers. And one new poll suggests that Canadians think it should be this country. The poll, commissioned by secondstreet.org, suggests that 78% of Canadians support increasing oil and gas production and exports to reduce the world's dependence on Russia. Well, with us to discuss this poll is the president of secondstreet.org, Mr. Colin Craig. Sir, welcome back to Forum Daily.
Thanks for having me.
Now, a very timely poll commissioned by secondstreet.org, especially considering this increased demand for energy in the world. So tell us a little bit more about this poll, sir, and why it was commissioned in the first place.
Well, the fact of the matter is that over the past, more than the past decade, Vladimir Putin has sold billions of dollars worth of oil and natural gas to Europe, the United States, even Canada, and many other countries. And he's taken a lot of those dollars that he got from those sales and he bought rockets and tanks and he's using them to invade Ukraine right now. So I think a lot of Canadians are understanding that and they want to do their part to help the world get off of Russian oil. And that's why we decided to ask the public, what do you think about this opportunity? Canada has a ton of oil and natural gas resources. The world is going to keep using those resources for many years to come. So should Canada step up and start developing and exporting those resources? And as you mentioned, about 78% of Canadians like that idea. It's a very popular option from coast to coast. All provinces are on board, a large majority, men, women, all age groups. Just 10% of Canadians oppose this option.
So, what would you say are the main findings for this poll, or from this poll, for both Canadians and officials?
Well, I think more than anything, it's that the public thinks that this is an important thing to think about. For many years now, governments have they've blocked, obstructed, they've delayed oil and gas projects, and many politicians have done so in the name of climate change. That's been their suggestion: is that somehow we're saving the planet by keeping Canadian oil in the ground while other countries simply increase their oil production. It doesn't make very much sense at all, and one could argue it actually hurts the environment because Canadian natural gas, especially, could be exported to other countries that are currently using coal for their electricity generation right now. And those countries could switch from coal to natural gas, and that can really help to reduce emissions. So keeping our natural gas in the ground doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I think this poll more than anything shows is that it's important to think beyond just simply the environment and the economic benefits of developing Canadian resources, but also sort of the geopolitical importance as well. Uh, you know, Even if Vladimir Putin pulled out of Ukraine today, does anyone really want to buy oil and natural gas from him next year, 5 years from now? I mean, he cannot be trusted. The world needs to find alternative energy sources for those resources.
All right, so how dependent is the world on Russian oil and gas exports? And is it realistic to think that Canada can fill that demand, sir?
I think we could certainly help out a lot. When it comes to Canada, we don't import a ton from Russia. We do import some. It's easier for us because it's a relatively small percentage. Even the United States, it's around 7% towards the second half of last year. That's how much they depended on Russia for their oil and gas. But Europe is the real obstacle. They get about 40% of their natural gas from Russia, and I think it's about 25% of their oil. So Canada can't fill that void overnight, but if we start approving projects now, then we could step up and really put a dent in Russian oil and gas sales.
All right, sir, just about a minute left here. But in addition to taking these steps, what other steps can Canadian officials do to increase production and exports?
Well, it's not just approving the projects to extract the resources. We need pipelines too. That's very important. There was a project in Quebec that would have helped export natural gas, and it was rejected by the federal government and the Quebec government not too long ago, prior to the invasion of Ukraine. So I think in that province, especially, they'd be wise to do a rethink, and that's what the poll shows. The public is on board, even Quebecers, with developing Quebec natural gas. And there's environmental benefits for Quebec too if they use their own local natural gas rather than importing it, which they're doing right now. they could take about 35,000 cars off the road because you have lower emissions when you use local than having to import.
All right, Mr. Craig, always great having you on Forum Daily. Thank you again for your time today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Coming up after the break, we'll be getting updated on the state of cryptocurrencies and other digital assets over the past week. Our weekly crypto and digital asset update with Catherine Murray. Up next shortly. We'll see you soon.